If you are listening to this right now, asking yourself, what do the questions of the universe hold, then we must sadly tell you, we got nothing. We Got Nothing is brought to you by Old Soul Design Shop. Are you looking to display your artistic abilities in a serene setting and have a drink afterwards? Old Soul boasts a revitalization to the artistic and community vibes of Clinton County. Located on Margaret Street, a couple doors down from TD Bank in downtown Plattsburgh, Old Soul proudly displays its specialization in artisan variety and bringing together creative souls in the North Country. Plants and vinyl paraphernalia decorating the establishment, a small but quaint outdoor patio set up to lounge, a tap room for a relaxing evening with friends, and a diverse roster of community events including karaoke nights, yoga sessions, local music, and knitting circles, believe it or not. Old Soul, rejuvenation guaranteed after one visit. Greetings and salutations, my psychedelic children, my beautiful souls, and welcome once again to the expose on the art of conversation. We got nothing. I am your host,
Catalyst Jost,
coming at you from the beautiful Sunshine Wasteland of Central Florida, and I am joined here today by one of my fellow bar goers here in the beautiful Sunshine State. He is a former Full Sail graduate for sound engineering. Please help me welcome one Mr. Will Fagan.
Perfect. Yeah. I wouldn't even call myself a Full Sail graduate. It's such a small thing in my life. I would call myself a musician, general fucking nobody, bar goer.
Hey, what is... Bar goers aren't nobody. That's how you get to meet your...
I'm a nobody right now in the case of music, but we're going to get there.
Okay, fair enough. So, you're originally from Newark, New Jersey.
North New Jersey, yeah.
You're from the north, dude.
Yeah, I'm from way up there in the fucking deep ghettos of New Jersey.
Hey, you at least still know what snow looks like.
Yeah, I sat right on the Moses Point between the Portuguese and the Irish part of Newark.
That's an interesting combo. How does that look?
The food's amazing. The crime rate's fucking awful.
What is it? So, what have you found are some of the more unique changes in... You've been here for 9 years, yes, but what are some of the unique aspects of transitioning here into a quote-unquote more southern state as opposed to somewhere up north?
Well, for starters, I can hit all the normal bullet points that everybody usually does, the traffic sucks. You guys suck at driving here. Say what you want about New York and New Jersey, but you guys are the worst drivers. Fast food is not fast food. In New Jersey, they'll get you in and out in 5 minutes. They want your money and they want you to get the fuck out. Here, they're gonna be like, "How's your day going?" In between their missing teeth, and it's just like, "It's going great. Can I get my McChicken?"
Oh my god! No. That's I think has been one of the hardest things transitioning here into Florida. God, I love the people at my job, but every now and then when I go in and I'm about to take a sip of my morning caffeinated beverage, maybe I need a quick cigarette, someone walks up, it's like, "Hey DJ, how you doing?" And this is a training, definitely this is a training scenario. It takes me everything not to say, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, exactly. My Uber driver's like, "Where are you going?" Winter Park. "What are you doing in Winter Park?" And then my brain is just the instant reaction is, "None of your fucking business."
Yeah. And then say you deal with a crackhead over at the Lynx bus station there, and they're just standing there, and you are clearly not giving them the time of day. They're almost damn near close to your face with a sign.
You can smell them. Literally.
Bro, I had to literally yell at someone, "Dude, fuck off."
Yeah.
I don't want to acknowledge you. I don't even want to know you exist.
No eye
Please.
contact rule. That's something people down here don't get. All my friends from around here who grew up here, they're just making dead eye contact with a crackhead, and it's like, why is he coming up to me? I don't understand why he's talking to me. And I'm like, because you're acknowledging his existence. Treat him like a T-Rex.
Well, sometimes you can't. Sometimes even if you don't acknowledge them, there's once in a while one of those dudes that will flat out just stand there like a statue, peering down at you. It's like, I know you are real. Give me money.
And that's when you hit him with, I'm just a figment of your imagination. Take your medication.
Got him. Speaking of which, I wish this was a figment of my imagination. So,
Oh, yeah. You tell me the story you were talking about.
Okay, so this happened about a couple nights ago. I was just getting home from the bars after the job there. My homies had dropped me off, and I was getting ready to just walk my happy ass in the door and go to sleep. And I'm not even on my fucking doorstep. And what is it? I hear a whisper. It's like, hey, man, uh, can I get your help for a sec? And
No.
no. Here's the thing. I'm looking all around the street. I'm looking up. I'm looking down. I'm looking all around. I don't see anybody. I think I have finally lost my fucking mind.
Yep.
So it's like, nah, man, up here, up here. And then, sure enough, I look up on the roof of the house. Sure enough, there is a crackhead, like, just standing there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, nah, in bright orange. I don't even know how I didn't notice him. And he's like, hey, man, could you do me a favor, dial 911? I don't feel safe right now. I'm on run right now. And I'm just like,
Christ.
is this fucking happening right now?
Is this fucking for real?
So, what is it? I finally come through the door. My roommate's like, hey, I'm hearing knocking outside the door. It's all over the house. It sounds like someone's on the roof. It's like, because there is somebody on the fucking roof.
Crackhead Santa Claus has come a little bit early.
Jesus Christ. So, what was it? It was already 3 when I came through the door, and then it was 2 hours worth of talking to the crackhead, making sure that, like, I don't know what he's doing. He didn't have no weapon, so, like, I didn't care.
That's where you and I differ in self-control, because I would have got the fucking hose on him.
If I had known how to work the hose, I would have probably done.
If there was running water.
You ain't lying. But then, then the cops come and, they ask their usual questions. I'm like, yeah, I don't know this dude. Please get him out of here. Dude was clearly either, on drugs, had a mental breakdown, maybe both.
Definitely on drugs.
Something.
First off, that's a dedicated effort. You have to climb up the entire fucking siding. I understand, like, crack and uppers will make you do some crazy shit and give you confidence, but the fact that he got up on the roof and didn't know what to do from there.
What is it? The cops, they were pretty chill with the whole situation, and I'm just like...
They were just like, oh yeah, crackhead Santa Claus. He does this shit like 3 times a week.
No. He's legit the officer.
You're lucky you didn't have a chimney, or else we would have had to call the fire department.
No, the officer I was talking to was being like, yeah, this is a regular occurrence for us around this neighborhood. And I'm like, this is a regular occurrence? What the fuck?
He's brought you good tidings. Have you been a good boy, you get crack. If not, you get your window smashed. And your catalytic converter stolen.
I don't know, bro. I was like, I had heard the Florida man stories going down here, and I'm just like, after seeing that stuff, I'm like, what?
Oh, it's pretty bad. I've had to forcibly remove people from bars for not putting their shirt on because they were on so much acid, and it's just like, don't tell me to put my shirt on. I'm feeling really good right now. I'm like, well, you can feel really good in my parking lot and not in here, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, right? Like, there's a no shirt, no shoes, no service kind of deal here, right? So
I'm just glad they stopped at the shirts.
Facts. But God, it's so weird because like I've never seen that shit ever happen before, and like you hear the stories like what is it, that one, I think this was a couple years ago, freaking somebody had messed up a Happy Meal, and then
the guy shot up the McDonald's, right?
No, that was the story I'm saying about is less traumatic, but much more weirder. The dude took a full grown ass alligator and threw him through the fucking McDonald's checkout window, like the drive-thru window.
Fucking nuts.
Yeah, I'm just like, I understand if you get pissed off and like you're yelling at somebody. I definitely don't support you punching a dude out because there's mayo on the sandwich, even though you asked for no mayo. But
yeah.
And oddly enough, I would say, like, especially in areas like this, like, shooting up a fast food joint can be common. But, like, even so, like, throwing an alligator,
that takes dedication. You're putting yourself in way more of a risk versus reward scenario by picking up a fucking alligator to throw it.
Well, at that point, you gotta believe it's not just about the meal. He hated somebody, like, at that place. Or, like, maybe he was... I don't know, maybe he was drunk. He was trying to flirt with what is it? The cashier. She wasn't about it. It's like, fuck this hoe.
Fuck her. She gets an alligator.
She likes to be a reptile. I'll give her a reptile.
Shit, depending on what part of Florida you did, they might just start dressing it in the fucking front of the thing. It's like, updated menu, fried alligator tail.
Jesus Christ. Now, for a limited time only, please try our new alligator bits. Only $2.99 in local retails all across the South.
I'm pissed they were. It could have been crackhead bits.
I could see alligator bits being popular, like in somewhere like Louisiana or something like that.
The alligator tail is pretty common down here. Like, people eat it. I don't mind it. It tastes like chicken, which is something you'll hear about 500 times a week from people who eat alligator. It's like, oh, it tastes like chicken. So,
That's what they say about frogs too.
yeah, it's a little bit more. I don't know if it's slimy, but it's not quite right. When I've had frogs' legs, I've had them before. They're not the greatest thing on the planet.
I just don't feel right about eating a reptile. Period. I don't know what it is. That just seems like some voodoo, like bad mojo shit.
Oh, like well, obviously, because you're gonna inherit the powers of the alligator. You're gonna want to sit in the sun for 6 hours and do nothing all day.
It's literally like, to me, it's almost the same as eating a crow or a raven. Like, that's some bad juju, right?
Some people fucking do that. Some people eat the sandhill cranes. They call it sky ribeye. I've heard that before. Like, why would you want to eat that?
Hey, bro, you get to a certain point, you're desperate for anything, man.
Yeah, people eating the fucking anoles and shit off the ground. It's just like, oh, it's protein.
It's protein.
It's good for you. You know what's also good for you? A fucking pub sub.
A pub sub? You're gonna have to explain that one.
Oh, like public subs. Yeah. Do you
Oh,
know about pub subs? How long have you been living here, man?
This would actually mark 3 months, I think. I mean, I've heard of Publix before, gone shopping there a couple times, kind of over expensive in my opinion. But
Yeah.
like I have heard they do have some dank sandwiches.
Yeah, that's basically the main appeal. Is like go there and like a chicken strip sandwich and stuff like that. People love them.
Oh, nice.
They're not bad. They're pretty good for what they are, but like at the same time, they're better sandwiches.
Well, what is it? They're better than Subway, but that's literally the Taco Bell
bar is in
equivalent.
hell. The bar is in hell for that.
Yeah, that's like the Taco Bell equivalent of a submarine
It's
sandwich.
like, would you like bread that tastes like styrofoam and soap at the same time?
You went to school for sound engineering. What is exactly sound engineering?
So like basically my job is to modulate sound, make it sound better, tune things up, apply pitch correction, apply compression, all that shit. Basically making someone who is already a good singer, not that good of a singer, sound even better on the track.
So you're one of the main reasons behind autotune. Thank you for that.
Alright, listen, autotune might have been an escapable fate like 5-10 years ago, but I can't argue with the fact that pitch correction is just voodoo magic and most artists use it.
Okay,
I personally am very against using pitch correction on my own tracks when I'm singing. I try my best to keep it raw because most people who actually take singing seriously will hear compression and hear pitch correction, judge you harshly on it. But I'll be damned if it isn't a helpful fucking thing in the moment when I'm like, I don't know, about 10 shows deep in a week and my voice is fried and I can't quite hit the range I want to.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely helps me get it out there. And as long as I can replicate the sound that I'm making, like actually do it, I don't see that big of a deal.
So, like, what is it? Do you apply your skills at like a recording studio?
Yeah, I work in a recording studio called Hit Squad at university.
What is your clientele, really?
It's a rap studio, so usually rappers and like up and coming artists, stuff like that. We've gotten some big names before, but nothing crazy really.
Anyone off the top of your head?
I worked security for a Tech Nine show once. That I got.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, because we worked with Def Jam, and that was about it. Yeah. Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
I'm gonna be honest. They could be a lot more famous than I expected. I just don't really listen to rap music that much.
That's fair. That's
like
fair.
I've heard like, oh, this guy's got a lot of followers and this guy's got a lot of plays, and I'm like, if it's made after 2000, it's a very hard sell for me in the rap scene.
One of the biggest problems also is that lyrics, especially with modern day rap, just like I mean, this has always been a problem. Period with the rap industry.
Mumble rapping.
Yes. What is it? My boy Saturn, whose channel we post this on, he hates mumble rap. Like, I mean, there's a couple artists that I don't mind, like Chance, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, and I wouldn't even say that he's really mumble rap because
I'll be honest. There's a couple artists that I like as a guilty pleasure that I like. I don't think they're technically that good, and I think that they get a lot of hate, which they deserve. But they got a couple of good songs. Names that come to mind are like Machine Gun Kelly. I like.
Well, you can't really call him a rapper anymore,
No,
can
not
you?
really. Yeah, not really. Artist in general. Machine Gun Kelly isn't that bad. Jack Harlow isn't the worst.
Nice.
He's a little annoying, and I don't like him as a person. His lyrics can get a little weak at times, but can't lie, some of his songs are a little bit good to listen to.
What is it? Some of the artists like you helped with like sound engineering and whatnot, have they taken off at like in an independent sense or like one that's beyond Florida?
Yeah, most of the dudes we work with are already signed already, but we've had people come in and just like come on for stuff, and then like a couple months later it's like, oh, they got signed to a big label and stuff like that.
Okay.
But again, I don't really pay attention to that too much. My work is like the least entertaining thing in my life.
Well, what is there an aspect about it that you really do enjoy, if at all?
I like being close to music. I like the connections I've made, even though they're kind of in a different scene for my own music. And I like just getting like better at my own shit, because the amount of hours I pour into doing other things and learning new things, I kind of can apply it to my own music and my own mixes. And it's just like, all right, well, I've learned how to help this dude who has absolutely no talent sound pretty good.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now apply it to my own things.
Now, what particular genre are you most fine with?
I like blues, I like hard rock, I like metal.
Nice.
But anything really. Folk music's a good one. Really anything. I'll sing just about anything from Michael Bublé to fucking Slipknot.
Yeah, yes. Oh God, I remember before the pandemic hit there, I was originally living at Daytona Beach, and there was actually Rockville was going to come over to the Speedway there, and the headlines were guys like Metallica. It's like, yeah, they can headline anything. It's like whatever. But they also got Disturbed. They had Anthrax. Nice. They had like they got Hailstorm, and I'm like, hell yeah. But what are your like top 3 favorites for the? Let's go with the metal.
Metal. That's a Slipknot probably is up in the top 3. Definitely, that's one of my main vocal influences. Avenged Sevenfold's really good. God, it's a hard choice to just distill it down to 3, but third place I'd probably have to give probably Mastodon. Honestly, Mastodon's really
Mastodon is actually one of those ones that are highly underrated because like
extremely.
Well, I think what gets people turned off is the screamo aspects about some of their vocals. But like they're considered a prog metal, I believe. So like the way that they handle their instruments and their sound, it's absolutely phenomenal. It's astronomical.
Yeah, they're very technical. They're great at what they do. Honestly, they like same thing with Dream Theater. It's like this is just music that is technically amazing, and it's very hard to replicate.
The drummer for Dream Theater took over Rev's place in Avenge. Like, it's not the same, but like also it's not bad either.
I mean, if like Portnoy is probably one of the best choices they could have went with that. Honestly,
absolutely,
it's very hard to replace the Rev.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
What is it for me? God. I understand what you mean. How hard it is now. Top 3 metal, definitely, gotta give it to, like, I wouldn't say it's a band, like, because it's more or less a man in anything he's been in. There's Dio, like,
Dio's the king, honestly.
For real, R.I.P., like, you were a literal metal god, dude. And,
more amazing about him is that he was very, very against substances, and that's a hard thing for most musicians, is, like, just getting out of your own head, whether it's speed, alcohol, marijuana, fucking anything.
I mean, Ted Nugent was the same way, but like he was kind of more of it from a more how do I be unbiased about this? More spiritual sense. You know, more of a
Ted is a fucking character upon a character. That man is very unique.
Yes, he is. What is it? Second place, especially in the past couple years, I gotta give it to Rage Against the Machine, because like and especially
I have opinions about that lately.
Well, what is it like? Especially after how BLM really reached its apex back in 2020, like. That's when I really started like listening more on the messages of shit like guerrilla radio and killing in the name of, and especially having my own mixed racial background, like it really does, and not even just about that, like being kind of a rebel throughout my life in terms of like I will always do what I feel is right regardless of what people think.
That's fair.
What's good by me, like that's the kind of shit that De La Roche always really hammers home in any of his his
That's
work.
fair. Yeah, he always does kind of give the general idea of a good shake. Like he's very good at what he does. I just feel like lately the message he used to portray has kind of gotten distorted.
Well, God, it depends on what you're listening to him like doing in terms of projects because he's also had a hand in this one rap group project called Run the Jewels.
Okay. I don't know if
I
I've heard them yet.
I listened to them about like a month back. My boy Squid, shout out to you, Squid, had introduced me to them, and holy shit, it echoed a lot of like old styles like Wu Tang
Shit, I'm gonna have to check that out then.
and what is it, NWA, and the flavor of the lyrics in terms of the message definitely brings that kind of style into it, but brings it into the modern day.
That's fair.
You know,
Yeah.
and there was actually one track where Zach De La Roche had actually hopped on, and not only does he start off the beats like with his own sound, he also has his own verse in that, and dude knows how to rap.
That's fair. I have to check that out then. Because that's really where like the genre of like rap falls for me is like between Tribe Called Quest to Wu Tang to just any old school really. I liked when rappers were gangsters trying to be musicians and not musicians trying to be gangsters because you can always tell when somebody's real about what they're singing about and when somebody's not real about what they're singing about.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. God, there's this one rapper, Brother Ali. He's been in the game for a number of years now. One of my favorite ones by him is Uncle Sam. Goddamn, like it is a flat out. It is politically charged, but like it's one of those things. Well, that's what I really like about rap in general because it's essentially a poem being played on a musical beat in a specific style, and I always love lyrics that hit the truth and are clever and like just hit your soul. Like that's one of the reasons I love Chance.
That's fair. I like Poor Rich's Teachers for the same reason. Like they're just rapping about things that are straight up like objective truths. It's like, well, here's the problem with low income neighborhoods. Like as someone who comes from it, it's like a lot of you fuckers are battered by circumstance. Yeah, but a lot of you guys give into it. Like, don't get me wrong. When you're pressed for cash and you need to make a quick buck, yeah, it's real fucking appealing to start running shit. Like whether it's numbers, cars, jewels, fucking pockets. Well, it's hard to not like resist the draw of a quick buck, especially when it's more lucrative to do that than work a 15 fucking hour shift.
Absolutely, absolutely. And but I would also say that mentality has also leaked its way into the modern day social zeitgeist because what is it? Nowadays especially you get and especially with the rise of social influencers, like
absolutely.
you get the sense that like God, what's his face there? Andrew Tate, he's a good example of that shit. Like what is it? He is a toxic social influencer who tries to sell this snake oil formula onto young, insecure, at times either rich or middle class young men, maybe even boys.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
To like on how to become rich quick or like be quote unquote alpha. And it's just like, what is it? It's a mentality that like that is just, it's a pyramid scheme. It's a pyramid scheme.
I don't completely agree actually. Let me say about my opinions on Tate. I think that there are a lot of people backing him because he has at his core, against all the bullshit that he says and a lot of the character he plays, there is some homogenous truth to be like, oh, okay, maybe you should actually be able to provide for people. Maybe you should actually be able to get your shit straight before you start worrying about women, especially in the modern age when social stigma's fucking high and there's a lot of demand on men to be better than their partners and not much like kind of reward from the other side. It's like, well, you need to be able to provide, you need to be able to make six figures, you need to be able to protect me, you need to be able to be confident and all these other things. And it's like, what do you have? Some BPD and some used pussy.
Jesus.
It's like
Shots
that is a
fired.
harsh statement,
Shots
absolutely, and that
fired.
may make it sound like I agree with a lot of what Tate says. I don't. Absolutely. I absolutely think that he takes it to a fucking extreme that's so absurd that I don't understand how anyone takes it seriously. The things that people say are good about Tate are the same things you could say about people like David Goggins, who actually deserves the platform that fucking Andrew Tate has.
No, Goggins actually like puts words, actions to words because like
All of the redeeming traits about Andrew Tate, aside from all the mountain of bad shit, are everything that Goggins has without being completely out of pocket, completely fucking misguided, and just straight up dumb and misinterpreted 90% of the time.
what is it? Goggins actually makes me want to, especially seeing those old photos of him, makes me want to get the fuck out of my seat and at least go on a walk. You know,
like that dude has been through literal hell, and he's just like, okay, just fucking do it.
exactly.
Stop taking it. Like, don't like take it out on people. Don't be like, well, here's why women deserve less. And it's like, don't get me wrong, the social stigma is fucking very much so balanced in a weird way right now. Some may say it's more balanced towards women. Some may say it's more balanced towards men. I think in the dating scene, it's a lot more balanced towards women currently. But at the same time, though, that is not fucking reason to have these just ridiculous opinions. It's like, well, girls want an alpha. It's like 9 times out of 10, I see girls going home with a skinny kid with fucking curly hair. Tell me this alpha bullshit.
Right, exactly. And then the thing is with Tate is that he again try to sell people on how to quote unquote be alpha, but as opposed to just like trying to find a way to accept themselves. There's where it is right there. Like, I mean, what he should teach is that like if you have a problem with the man in the mirror that's still developing, you can make a change and don't
go out and fucking do it. Stop being lazy.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask for help if need be. There is no shame in asking for help ever.
Yeah.
But like where I get heated is that like there is this formula that these influencers and these what's the word for it, pickup artists bullshit that like
that is
I'm just
biggest snake oil on the planet.
that it's just like in terms of like energy and like spirituality, yes, like people pick up on vibes and stuff like that. And
I think that being confident is a very big part in attracting someone, no matter the situation. But at the same time, though, fake confidence and illusions of grandeur are very different from just not being fucking so insecure.
And the fact of the matter is, like, at the end of the day, like, whether you have someone or not, like, you have to go home with yourself. You have to look at the man in the mirror. Yeah. You have to get yourself to work. Make sure that you have a roof over your head and food in your stomach. Even if you're splitting the bills with somebody, man or woman, like, you got to make sure that you're okay, that you're safe.
Exactly. Like, the main thing is, like, at the end of the day, there's going to be a million fucking people coming in and out of your life. Whatever the situation is with them, you need to worry about yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's... Family is a different story. Like,
Absolutely.
I understand that. But outside looking in, unless this person's willing to do the same for you, why the fuck are you giving them your last pair of socks? Like, don't give people your last pair of socks. Chances are they won't want it as much as you want to give it to them, and you'll need it more than they do.
Yeah, don't give them your last pair of socks, but like definitely like every once in a while, prove to yourself you got a little bit of humanity. Yeah. Like what was it? We were just talking shit about some of the crackheads and homeless dudes that we often ignore. Every now and then, like, and this is like similar to what we were talking about vibes. It's a vibe check. It's an energy check, and also like a self-evaluating energy check. The other day, like when I went shopping, I was going on the bus and whatnot. This one dude's just passing me by. Is just like, oh, I need some food and whatnot. And like, I look at him. I could smell him, and it didn't make me gag. And what was it? I was riding off some kind of high that day, but. So I straight up just gave him one of my boxes of berries and the last cigarette I had in my pack. I bought a new pack, so
that's completely understandable. Like, I do that shit all the time. If like the person seems like they're legitimately in need and they won't be just an asshole about it, like, and let me elaborate. Like, I've met homeless musicians in downtown that are some of the nicest people I know, and they're technically really good. They're not the worst musicians in the world. Definitely better than some of the people I see playing at bars. And I'll toss them a couple bucks here and there. I'll help them out with a cigarette or two. The thing that I don't like is like the homeless or the crackheads that are fucking predatory, where it's just like, I take $1 out, 5 more people come up, and it's like, they got a sign that says, "Would you help? Would you please help me? I have to like get my arm sawed off," and then like 3 months later it says I have to get my leg sawed off. And it's like, hey, hold on, your arm's still attached. You owe me an arm.
Dude, today, while I was waiting for the bus here on OBT, frickin', I walk up on a dude, he has glasses, he's in a wheelchair, he's got a sign up. It says, please help me, and he's like, hey man, you got anything, you need anything? I'm not even giving him the time of day. Again, literally situation, just wake up, just drinking my caffeines, you don't exist to me. If you say another word, I might literally attack your throat. What is it? All of a sudden, he springs out from the wheelchair, still holding his sign and whatnot, and then, I don't know, probably his girlfriend, maybe some family member comes in, this woman who literally did look a little bit more frailer, sickly-wise, then sits in the chair and whatnot, and he just rides her past me. I'm like,
Hold up.
what the fuck?
All right, Tabitha, they didn't take well to me. Your turn in the chair. Wheel him around for another one. I think he's paying attention.
Yeah,
won't notice.
Yeah, it looks like you've been having stage 3 for 6 years now. Why don't you just hop in here?
It's miraculous, honestly.
No. Here's the thing about
your cancer is simultaneously so aggressive and yet docile that you've been alive for 15 years in terminal illness in the 4th stage.
Here's the thing about it, if anything, if you're gonna do that, move over towards the back of some place where they cannot be seen. Switch around, wait 1-2 minutes when there's a new set of traffic, and then do that shit. Unless the woman who took the place was actually literally legitimately sickly, which she could have been. But if that been the case, why the fuck?
They share the wheelchair. He gets it between 1 and 5, and she gets it weekends.
They couldn't afford to have a kid, so they decided a wheelchair would be the best thing. That's gonna make them more money than a fucking kid.
Jeez. Yeah, but I've given homeless people money before, and they've just come back they don't say thank you, and the next day they're just like, yo, give me $1, and it's not even please anymore. It's just they think they have their foot in the door, and I'm just like, I don't have any cash suddenly.
I'd be like, I'm sorry, who are you?
Yeah, exactly. Who the fuck are you?
No, I'm just joking. I wouldn't even give them the time of day.
Yeah, it's just I understand being in a fucking jam, but if you're in a jam and you're asking people for money, don't be a dick about it. Don't be an asshole.
It was the same thing down in up in Daytona there, and this was before they started really cracking down on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You could literally make so much more being homeless than you could actually having a job.
Yeah. You make $100 a day or something, and it's nuts. Just crazy to me. You're just sitting there. I get it, but at the same time, that's a lot of money.
And at the same time, also
or they'll pull out their fucking brand new iPhone.
I know.
It's just you have Cash App, and it's just that drives me nuts. It's I don't have any cash. Do you have Cash App? Why the fuck do you have a phone? Why do you have a Cash App?
That is the definition of first world problems. Even the homeless dude's got a phone. It's the iPhone 6. He has a fucking phone. Don't matter.
And it's not a cheap one either. It's it might not be a current gen iPhone, but it's I knew kids in high school that had worse ones than that.
Yeah, no facts. I didn't have an actual smartphone till actually probably after high school. I got by with an iPod Touch and a flip phone. That's what it originally was. You had a flip phone, maybe
sidekick, yeah.
Maybe even one of those things where it has a mini keypad, and then all of a sudden, now we have mini computers in our.
Oh yeah, it's fucking nuts. This thing's more advanced than what they flew to the moon with.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that it's more advanced than what they flew to the moon with? Yet it's entirely dependent on the user, because my father still can't read his fucking text messages without their text being wider than his thumb.
No, my dad actually doesn't actually type out text unless there's a grammatical error. He uses the voice to text feature. Hey. I'm surprised he has a smartphone, period. What was it? It wasn't until probably last year he actually found Facebook. He actually used a Facebook.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no. That's the sign of being integrated in old day.
My dad's up there. He's 67, and he fucking has a Facebook, and he has 3 Instagrams a week because he doesn't know how to log back into them. So he'll make a new one. It's just oh yeah. Your father wants to follow you on Instagram. It's like, listen, I didn't follow you the first 3 times. Why do you think I was gonna follow you now?
Isn't that also the generation that would actually write down their passwords? You tell me they can't.
Oh, you're lucky if they write them down.
God damn.
You're lucky. They'll just make it up as they go along, forget it, and then reset it the next fucking time they want to use it.
But circling back to like how people either are not working or like are down on their luck or be it the what we were saying before about the compatibility or like toxic social influencers preying on those with like insecurities and whatnot. The biggest problem is like people don't have a lot of motivation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At all. Like what was it? I went through some family tragedy about like actually 1 year to the day last year. And what was it? There were 6 whole months where I was in a literal pit of despair. One of the things that really helped me started getting back into the swing of things. And this is one of those like cliche stories for modern day, but I actually started playing this one video game that had came out this year, and that would be Elden Ring.
Fair.
Well, what was it? I was in such a huge depression. I was in probably the biggest funk in my life. Like the only other time I had felt this shitty or anywhere close to it was like when I was like 21 and had fallen so deep in the party scene that like I was doing drugs left and right. Forget about college. I had already left that shit in the rear view, and I was just like living off people and whatnot. One day, like I had actually saved up enough money to buy one of the new consoles there, one of the lesser versions. And my roommate at the time, he was bugging me. It's like, hey, yo, bro, I'm serious. Next game you should buy is Elden Ring. And I mean, what was it? I'd gone through some of the Soulsborne lineup before. I mean, my first game was Dark Souls 3, and like, what is it? I think that's one of the perfect ways to start off with because it has the fast-paced combat and it has the right frames per second, and the boss battles in that game, holy fucking
Pretty
shit!
good, yeah, absolutely.
Arguably some of the best in at least the Dark Souls series.
I had played Dark Souls 1 for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it. I was young. I was very young. Not super young, but like young enough to like not understand what the fuck I was doing. Then I stopped. Dark Souls 2 came out. Played that for a week. Fucking hated it. Never played it for like, or sorry, never played it, but stopped playing it for like a year. And then I started watching people playing like PvP videos, and I realized like, oh fuck, this game is really in depth, and I just kind of want to get over that hump. Came back to Dark Souls 2 and just slog. And it was almost like I got in a fucking abusive relationship because like I didn't like it, but then it grew on me over and over again, just like slowly, and now I'm so fucking deep in that rabbit hole that I have an actual Dark Souls tattoo. My fucking ringtone is the Dark Souls thing.
The comparison with that, it almost sounds more like Stockholm Syndrome.
It literally is. Like, you just eventually learn to love hating it. And then, like, the things like the lore and the in-depth shit, it's just like, I have no contempt for those games at all. Like, absolutely, I will still fucking scream at them. But I can't stop myself. It's like nicotine.
What I have always loved about Hidetaka Miyazaki's series is just that with
his overwhelming foot fetish.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Okay, so Miyazaki has this fucking thing with bare feet, where he loves to put characters with bare feet in games, so much so that George R.R. Martin was literally just like, listen, if you let Melina's third form have bare feet, people in the West are gonna make fun of you. And then that quote ended up coming out, and people made fun of him anyway.
Yeah. From the sound of it, he's the video game equivalent of Tarantino there.
He likes feet.
Hey,
he makes good games, but he damn sure likes his feet.
Yeah, is what it is. Well, I mean, like, he even said in an interview, like, one of the reasons behind, the Soul series, like, difficulty and whatnot is that he literally could see, like, would like to see himself dying in some of these, like, in some of these fashions, like, going out in a hail of arrows, like, this was honor to him, and it's just, like, he's like low-key a masochist for
I was
like
gonna say either he's very Japanese or he's just a straight masochist.
yes.
Maybe a little of both.
What is it? After Dark Souls 3, I went into Bloodborne. Still have not gotten past Father Gascoigne, so
That's
so what is it? I had to
that game deserves another shake from you.
yeah, no, what is it? God, but I still went into like gameplay videos, the lore and whatnot.
That's a good way to get into it if you can't like
Well,
fully like commit to the game. That's how I did Sekiro, because like as much as I love Sekiro, that is just a game that requires so much cracked out focus that nowadays it's very hard to put my time into it. Elden Ring was way easier for me. But Sekiro is more of a rhythm game with swords.
we'll get into that in a second. The thing about Bloodborne that I really enjoy is that like I'm a huge horror fan in general. So like one of the biggest proponents, one of the biggest draws with Bloodborne is its Lovecraftian horror aesthetic. Like the when you defeat Rom halfway through the game, and then you start seeing like using the insight comes in, you start seeing shit like the amygdalas and like all the enemies take on different forms. Like that is classic Lovecraft. And the thing about Lovecraftian horror is that it is so hard to get onto a visual medium anywhere you go. And this is one of those games that just does it flawlessly.
Absolutely.
Flawlessly. Like it literally is it's kind of like an action horror RPG, and those are very hard to pull off.
Yeah. It's really hard to do anything Lovecraftian fucking right properly, because Lovecraft himself, whether you want to call him a lazy writer or just like a creative one, he didn't really put a lot of stock into describing things. In fact, he circumvented it by just saying things like, oh, it's so unimaginable that would break your brain. So interpreting that in a way that you can actually put on a screen and capturing the same amount of horror while still showing your enemy, which is kind of required for the game. At some point, you have to be able to fight. Like, it's a Dark Souls game, you fight God. That's just what you fucking do.
But hey, that really gives you the test of creating that visually. I mean, like the bosses, this was another thing I love with the Soulsborne games, is that the enemies, the bosses, the designs of these creatures that you have to fight are absolutely mind-bending and so amazing. Like, I mean, Bloodborne is definitely up there with like enemy design, and Elden Ring as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I think the one series I think that is the lowest with that is definitely Sekiro, but at the same time too, Sekiro has the best combat in the series.
Fair.
Like,
I like Sekiro. It's just like, it's so fucking hard for me. It's so hard to sit down and play that game.
Well, no, you hit the nail on the button. Like the flow of combat is almost like a rhythm game with your controller that you have to time perfectly. If you don't know how to parry, if you don't know how to not even parry, like what is it, block at the right time, and then like time it with your stamina bar, or more accurately your
it's a management game. Your poise, or your stability rather.
Yeah, and you don't even care that there's no variety. With you get the same weapon the whole way through.
Yep.
And that there's no stamina bar, but like it's still hard.
Yeah, it's like posture stability, which is arguably worse than stamina bar, because the worst thing you get in Dark Souls is like, oh, I got smacked. In Sekiro, it's like, oh, I've been disemboweled.
Well, with Dark Souls there, its main appeal was definitely the first one was definitely its level design.
Yep. Yeah, just the stunning amount of fucking different areas you could go to. And that was a big draw for me with Dark Souls 2, even though the areas were stitched together about as well as like a third grade like fucking short story. It's not the greatest in the world. Like, you go up a goddamn elevator and end up in a lake of lava. But there's just so much variation, and like they tried a lot of new things with that game. Like armor effects, new game design. But the areas are, in my opinion, even more varied than Dark Souls 1. And the DLCs are fucking masterful. Like, there's so many cool DLCs.
The thing is, they're not as interconnected as they were in the first Dark Souls.
Yeah. It's a lot less disjointed. Miyazaki didn't have like his hands directly on that game.
That is true. But there was a little bit more customization. Where I can see people getting thrown off is like how many fucking stats there are in that game.
Yeah. There's a lot of like weird concepts. They did a lot of risks in Dark Souls too, and some of them fucking failed miserably, like soul level and like the way that humanity works when you die. like just constantly decreasing your health bar. Like, yeah, it's a tangible effect, and it shows you like the effects of hollowing in the series, and it's a good way of representing it, but it's also just fucking not fun.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, fun comes before lore in games.
Absolutely, absolutely. With Dark Souls 3, definitely the bosses in that game are some of the best in the Souls series in general. I mean, you didn't see no Ornstein or Smaug, but like you saw like
Got the old Dragon Slayer, which is basically just Ornstein in black.
right, pretty much. But you did see like the thing with the bosses is that they weren't just like better design, taking a cue out of Bloodborne. They also like there was some legitimate lore behind them, like that just spoke to you, like what is it, the Nameless King, like bro just comes off on the back of a dragon and is like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? I'm Gwen's son. I'm here to fuck shit up.
And what was it? There was there was the last soldier there from the Dark Souls DLC there, the Ring City.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The Wraith Knights, right?
Yeah, one of the last like surviving dudes there.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember. Ring City was a great DLC though. That was kind of like, I really think they captured like exactly what I liked about Dark Souls 2 in the Ring City, because my main gripe with Dark Souls 3 is it was an amazing game. Everything was so kind of samey. Like, you're just in Pooh Brick Castle 90% of the game. You got your swamp, you got your varied areas, you got your fire areas. But most of it is kind of like just the same backdrop of Lothric, and you're fighting a lot of humanoid enemies most of the time. Like, just dudes in armor.
It definitely seems a little bit like Dark Souls 1 remake in a lot of aspects.
It does, yeah.
What is it? The thing is, that really taught you a lot about the difficulty of the series and whatnot. Elden Ring, on the other hand,
I really like how they handled Elden Ring.
I love it because it got me out of my depression. Because, like, what is it? You're spending so much time on your boss, and like it's a good representation of life in the aspect that, okay, you keep going at this challenge, you try a couple different things. That's another thing with Elden Ring, like customization of that, like your character, your stat, your builds and whatnot, but I'll get into that in a sec.
Yep.
It represents, you got a big challenge in front of you. There are multiple ways you can go about it. How you decide to go about it, how many times you fail, and how many times you cope with that amount of failure, that's on you.
Absolutely.
And
like, that's kind of my main appeal about the Souls game, is like, it's very much giving the idea of insurmountable odds, but you just bang your head against a brick wall so many times until you start to crack the foundation. It's like, wow, either I'm really good at this or my skull is dense as hell, but either way, that's something to be proud of.
Okay, fair enough. That's a new one. So with Elden Ring there, for one thing, you can jump.
Yep.
Finally.
I mean, you could kind of jump in the weird, janky ways. You had to get a running start in the old games.
You mean like, as opposed to just, as normal, like pressing a button, like one of the A, B, Y
and
stuff.
Double jump, on your horse. Miyazaki was like, all right, we're going to give you a proper jump, but we're going to make the fucking platforming twice as hard to balance it out.
Hey, as long as you're able to jump, that's the big thing. And like with that game, you do jump attacks. Those are some of your more powerful attacks in that game. You can really fuck somebody up with them.
Absolutely. There's a lot of variation, a lot of like, they're not afraid to go kind of crazy with the shit in Elden Ring. Like, it's hard to balance a lot of the stuff in Elden Ring. It's a lot less balanced than the previous games in PvP sense, but at the same time, though, it's fucking fun as hell, and you can't argue that.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you cannot argue with that. What I will say, though, is it is the easiest Soulsborne game.
Probably, yeah.
Anyone who will come at me about that, like, it is the easiest to cheese. It is the easiest to break.
That is fair. It is definitely easier to cheese, because a lot of the fights that allow your horse, you just fucking run away in circles and let your summons handle it.
Yeah, exactly. You add in the summons of that, like, if you know how to upgrade them and, like, what to use, like, on what enemies.
Fair.
Like, and that's...
Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. And that's another thing. There's, like, hundreds of bosses in the game, but they're literally versions of the basic enemies you fight, except for the main bosses. You know?
The main thing with Elden Ring is, like, the cheesability of it. Like, it's is pretty apparent sometimes. Like, the Radon fight is a good example of a cheesable fight. Like, I was playing a healer with a fucking short sword, and I just had no vigor when I reached Radon, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this fight. So, by the end of it, after like 80 tries, because Radon actually gave me quite the ass whooping, I just decided it was like, you know what, I'm playing Jesus, quote unquote. I'm playing this character who's literally just here to help people and heal, and like I'm running around in robes and sandals and shit. And I'm just gonna start summoning endlessly and just keep summoning and sending dudes at him, buffing him. I'm like, this is in character. Fuck it. And that's like one thing you can. I don't know if that's really the way you're supposed to fight Radon technically, but it's completely possible you can do it that way if you want.
It is definitely he is definitely arguably one of the hardest in the Soulsborne series because like I almost think like if you don't even have one summon going after him, like you're kind of fucked.
A one-on-one with that dude is not fun at all.
Is it possible? Maybe.
Oh, it's definitely possible. I've seen people beat fucking Elden Ring with the Guitar Hero controller.
That one doesn't surprise me as much. I mean, they did the same thing with the first Dark Souls, and that's much more harder.
There's this dude I've been watching called the fucking Happy Hob on Twitch for like about like 8 years, ever since he was like doing Dark Souls 2 stuff, and he was just, it's like, can I beat Dark Souls using a fucking Rock Band drum set? It's like, can I beat Dark Souls blindfolded? And it's like, go for it, do it.
He beat Dark Souls blindfolded.
I don't know if that's true. I've definitely seen people beat bosses in Dark Souls 2 blindfolded. Like I've seen a dude beat the cats blindfolded in Dark Souls 2, and that's a shitty boss fight. It's a really fucking hard
I
fight.
would literally have to see that.
Yep, it's on YouTube. He puts like I think a paper bag over his head and faces away from the screen while fighting them.
How is that possible? Fuck.
Sheer luck and a broken build, probably more likely, but definitely still takes some skill.
I would imagine you'd need like some kind of like tactile or auditory system to like get it right.
You can get used to it, honestly, just listening to the sound of shit getting close to you. Like it's like some of those attacks have pretty long windups. Like the cats have these wind moves that just sound like fucking rushing air for a while, so you know that shit's about to come at you.
All right, makes sense.
I've also seen one where this dude hands the controller to his like 4-year-old daughter, and when an invader comes in, she whoops his ass, and is like, "Good job," but like she gets distracted mid invasion. She's like, "Pay attention to the screen."
Nice.
It's just like, oh man, if the guy who lost the invasion only knew that he just got his ass handed to him by a 4-year-old.
Got him good. So which Soulsborne game is definitely your favorite?
Oh, this is a controversial opinion. I think 2. 2 is probably my favorite. I just like the general tone of it. The factions are cool. A lot of the bosses are really decent. I don't really think there's that many weak bosses in Dark Souls 2. Like, there's some bosses that are bad in design and easy as hell to beat, but they're all breathtaking looking. Like, even the Demon of the Song, or not Demon of the Song, sorry. That weird fucking Jabba the Hutt looking bastard, which is like highly regarded to be one of the worst fights in that game, where he's just like rolling around the arena, not doing much, and you can just kill him real easily by dropping a jar on his head. There's a lot of cool mechanics, and that design is pretty decent looking to me. Like it's varied compared to what we usually get. It's a slobby looking dude. He's ugly, yeah, but it's definitely like unique. He also has this attack where sometimes he'll just fucking grab you and bite you and hold you in his mouth, and he'll spit you back out, and all of your equipment's unequipped.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that will fuck with you.
It's fucking hysterical. It's a very rare attack, and if you get hit by it, it's your own damn fault, because it's very telegraphed. But it's just such a cool mechanic to just fucking be like, alright, cool, put all your shit back on real fast.
That shit'll make you cry.
Yep. Nashandra is another example of a really stupid, cheesable boss in that game, and that's the final boss. But her design's so fucking cool. She's like this undead bride with a scythe, and her gown's made of like corrupted fucking skin. It's really fucking cool looking. It's like very kind of Beksinski-esque in the designs. They're very organic, but also not natural.
Sounds more like a pre-Sister Freed.
Yep. Not too dissimilar, honestly. Nashandra just had this really cool edgy design. Mirror Knight's another good example of a fucking great boss in that game. It's just this giant hulking dude you fight on a like rooftop in the middle of a thunderstorm. He's got this giant shield that's a mirror. And another cool mechanic, if you put your red sign down outside that boss fight, doesn't work anymore because fucking nobody playing that game. You can get summoned in as an invader into the boss fight, and you'll come out of the dude's shield and fight with, like, on the side of the boss trying to kill the host. It's fucking cool as hell.
Personally, for me, out of the 3 I have, like, legitimately played, like, I gotta give it to Elden Ring. I mean, what is it?
Elden Ring is probably my second, then Bloodborne.
Well, Bloodborne definitely has my favorite in terms of lore. In terms of like what is it, like true classic boss design, and especially its own variety. Like, yeah, I gotta give it to Dark Souls 3. But what I love about Elden Ring, especially like when I bought it and how it really helped me through my own life struggles, like it is definitely without a doubt the best, the easiest Souls game. It is definitely the one somebody should start out with and then work your way up the ladder.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good example. Like Elden Ring is definitely a lot more newcomer friendly. There's a lot more like benefits to being a host and stuff like that. PvP is kind of nerfed compared to the previous games. You have a lot more disadvantages on top of the previous ones.
It's Dark Souls Breath of the Wild, pretty much.
Yeah, more or less. It's pretty open. Like you can do a lot in that game. Like I've seen builds that are just off the wall, kind of crazy. Like for example, my friend's just using like Godfrey's hammer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
and he's using the dive to knock people down, and when they're down, he'll hit them with a great bow. So he's just like, he's finding a way to viably use a great bow, which is fucking hysterical, because I love builds like that. It's just like, this weapon is highly regarded to be dog shit. Let me kill people with it and embarrass them.
Well, folks, when it comes to life down here in the Sunshine State, when it comes to having crackheads on your roof or dealing with homeless bums in the streets, or when it comes to dealing with people in the music industry, be it security or sound engineering, or when it comes to the many different masterpieces done by From Software, flat out, folks, we got nothing. Will, thank you for coming on here, brother.
Thank you, man.
It's always a
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. If you would like people to follow you, how would you like them to follow you?
My Instagram probably. It's Eligos_Cypher, ELIGOS_CYPHER.
What do you usually post on there?
I post a lot on my Warhammer painting. I haven't really kind of linked my music up with that yet, but I'm planning on posting a lot more music stuff once I get more established down here and get an actual band to kind of ensemble with me.
Gotcha.
Like, I sing in the bar scene around here, but people just know me by name, and I don't really have anything set up online yet.
Understandable. And if you would like to see more what Life on Saturn Productions provides, please follow Life on Saturn Productions on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you would like to see what I personally provide in my own personal spare time, please follow me as Daniel Evans Jost on Facebook and as Catalyst Jost on Instagram. That is CATALY5TJ05T. And with all that being said, folks, please keep your vibes dope, keep your zen flowing, and as always, peace.